Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and this morning I was looking through my feed and I saw Mark Lawblinder had made a video, and I only watched about the first minute of his video because I said, okay, I want to do a video on this topic. I don't want to taint my opinion with what Mark has to say, although I suspect we're probably going to agree on a lot of points. And that is a news story that is being run, and I'll link that story down below in Cosmopolitan, of this girl who has found her way on another show, and she has a YouTube channel called Fat Girl Dancing. She is going to be getting her own reality show called My Big Fat Life, or something to that effect. I may have gotten that wrong because I don't have it right in front of me. And I want to talk a little bit about the problem with this, and let me get something else out of the way up front. A lot of people, every time I make a video on this, they say, well, Jason, you shouldn't be talking about fat acceptance, you're obese. You are in the minority in the fitness world. The people who have these ideas of everyone needs to be ultra ripped or they're obese, people who are classifying me as obese need to realize I am not medically obese by any definition of the word. And if you're trying to classify me as obese, I'm sorry, you need to get psychiatric help. You have a major body image disorder. Now, back to this topic with this. The issue is that you have a woman here, and I am sympathetic to the fact that this is a woman who has some sort of ovarian issues, and yes, that can make fat loss more difficult, but it absolutely will not change your calories in, calories out. It will give you issues with energy turnover to some extent. It just means that dieting is a little harder. There's no way it's going to make you hold an extra 50 or 100 pounds of fat. It might make losing an extra 5 pounds of fat or 10 pounds of fat per year more difficult. So you're going to lose fat a little slower and gain fat a little faster than the average person, but that is by no means biologically capable of putting 100 pounds of fat on you. It is not biologically possible. It doesn't work that way in the real world. So no, her medical issues are not an excuse. And it goes back to this point of we as a society, when we have such a massive issue with obesity killing millions of people at this point. And yes, it is now at the point to where diseases that are directly related to obesity in the Western world are now killing millions of people. Everyone's worried about things like Ebola, terrorism, guns, violence, everything else. And I'm sorry, obesity and obesity-related diseases are killing more people in Western society than all violence, all gun crime, all shootings, stabbings, Ebola, and terrorist attacks have killed in the last 10 years. It's not even close. Those things all combined together are a microscopic fraction. They're maybe 1% or less of the total deaths that are caused due to obesity-related illness every year. And the fact that we worry about all these other things and we're ignoring this giant elephant in the living room, pardon the pun there, is just ridiculous, and we should not be putting shows up that glorify these things. And as I've said before, I am okay with the fact that people need to accept themselves. That we need to learn to be happy with ourselves, that psychologically people who are unhappy with themselves are going to struggle to lose weight. They're going to gain weight the most because they oftentimes take that out if they're eating. They are upset and hate themselves, and therefore they develop eating problems associated with that as a means of coping. And so we do need to push them to learn to love themselves, but no, we should not be accepting obesity as normal, normalizing it, and particularly not glorifying it, given the massive health impact and the death and the pain and the suffering that it does cause physically. This is not something that we should be accepting, and the fat acceptance movement is killing people. And I'm not saying people who are fat are bad people. I'm saying these are people who need help, and accepting the actual obesity itself is going to contribute to more deaths, and it's just not something we should be popularizing in culture at all. And people need to learn to make that detachment, that separation between telling a person that it is okay to love yourself for who you are, while at the same time not accepting that you are destroying your health and destroying your body. And you know, normally I wouldn't even care about it, other than everyone who pays taxes and everyone else who needs medical services are being negatively affected by this massive influx of obese people who are using up these services, using up money, using up doctors' time with completely preventable medical issues. And if it only affected them, I wouldn't even say anything and wouldn't even have a problem with people killing themselves. I am okay with suicide. I don't think suicide should be illegal. If someone wants to kill themselves, that's their own business, not my problem. Do I think they should probably get psychiatric help? Yes. Should we put more work into that? Yes, but I don't draw a distinction between suicide and being morbidly obese. They're essentially the same thing. They're both going to kill you. They're both a choice. They are both based upon psychological factors that could be prevented with better psychological care and with better mental health awareness. So that's really what we need to be focusing on here, is mental health awareness, not promoting fat and obesity acceptance, because it isn't acceptable. It is killing us by the millions. And people do need to be speaking out about the health consequences of it and remind people that no, it is not possible to be healthy and be obese. And again, drawing the distinction between someone who's holding an extra 10 or 15 pounds versus being obese, because there is a dramatic difference between the two, particularly in people who are physically active. Alright guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time. But let me give you guys a bicep shot before I go. Oh, Mount Bicep.